next speaker, Neelam. And she's a customer engineer at Google. She'll be speaking on balancing innovation pace versus reliability in the digital economy. And coming from someone who is interacting with a lot of customers or companies who are running at high scale, how do they manage in terms of how fast they innovate versus staying reliable? So let's welcome her with a huge round of applause.
So before we start, I want everyone to have like one exercise. So just everybody, can you put very hard on each hand 3 times? Both hands. So why you think I have just given 3 only? And there is correlations when you work with any cloud specific vendor. They mention they have 3 availability zone to provide you high availability, right? So why we have 3 only? Why don't we go up for 5, 4, 6? Yes?
Polling, basically, in case any zone fails, right, there needs to be an odd number to be able to select the most high availability zone.
Yes. For 3, you can have maximum benefit of the parallelization. That's why if you need HA, then we recommend that you deploy your resources in 3 zones. That's why 3. And why this, for this exercise is specific for you, it is just when you divert from your attention from availability to our next topic. And if you go home, then you can try, it's divert what you are doing, it divert you to the other place. So from office to work, you just back before you enter home. So my introduction, I work as a customer engineer. I have around 13 years of experience and I'm based out of Gurgaon and I work with the digital native customer in the enterprise segment. So from this picture, what do you assume? What it shows? And in technical stuff, why I am putting a lady with broom and on other side I have a girl who is just flying the fighter plane. Anyone? So this is typical SaaS-Bhog relation you see, right? SaaS will say like, no, if we will opt like something automation, if you try to hire maid, then I have my relatives, they will say, see, your daughter-in-law is not good, right? She is not doing, not helping you. She is just offshoring that stuff. But on right side, you see the girl, for her, like their physical strength and their skills, their identity matters a lot. So she will try to do the things like where she can innovate, right? Where she will try to do lot of stuff with automation. Like COVID has given a lot of learning to working ladies. They just try to use the robot for cleaning. But at the end, at home, we need a balance, like where you can have stability and where you can bring the innovation at home as well. So you will be thinking like why I am discussing kitchen here, but at the end you will be able to correlate why I am discussing this as well. So my topic for today will be SRE, the Site Reliability Engineering. That is continuation from the last topic, the HA. So HA is there, but how you make sure that your customers are happy. Then comes into picture our SRE concept. So in SRE, I will be discussing why and what is SRE. Then comes what is SRE principle, like guidelines in defining where you that you are following SREs and how you have to follow. Then lot of people like say DevOps, SRE, they get confused. In jobs, they mention in the interview like particular scope, they will be mentioning DevOps responsibility, but the title of job, it will be mentioned SRE. What is different between that? Then common terminologies we follow into SRE, like SLO, SLI, SLA, customer user journey, what this means. Then we have some concept related to SLO. I will be explaining with example how you can just correlate what this means. And then comes to the error budget. That is like where you find out balance between stability and your velocity. Then last I will be covering how you can start practicing SRE in your organization and how to get started from where you can start your SRE journey. So now comes to the main problem. So we have SRE, right? Why we even need SRE? So most of the organization we see, they have distributed system, right? And as linearly their services or features in that services increase, they have to linearly scale their operations team as well. But scaling operation team linearly, you can't do indefinitely, right? It will be increased cost, your system complexity, and operational expenditure as well. So there we need a, like, for the operations team, we need a curve that should be not non-linear. It should be like even that our service is scaled, but it should not scale that in that proportion. How we can achieve that? Either we have automation, we are using good tools that are doing the manual work that we are doing. Then we are sharing the best practices. Like for like reliability, we say like just remove your dependencies. So how you can do that? Are you following best practices of the, like, for particular design to design that services? And then shared responsibility, it's not becomes like a this person has done this work. It's become a team responsibility that team has done deliver good job, or this is like we were not able to make the reliability goal. That is our team goal. So it's not related to individual. So that's how, like, that's the way you can achieve. And when you combine all these factors, they have multiplier effect. So you will be able to see multiplier effect of each one on other as well. So that's how, like, we need a something that can help us to achieve this non-linear curve. And who can help this? So there becomes the SRE. So anyone, what do you understand by the SRE? In general term, what you understand based on your day-to-day operations or the way you work in your organization? Okay. So SRE is when you give, say, engineer to design a operations work. So in operations works, you do a lot of manual stuff. I have to add the capacity, then I am writing a script like based on this, I am writing a automation script, then it will be done. So but if you give to engineer, then how in like software engineer do? So they just try to do the feature changes very gradually, like small changes, and they try to commit every day. And they perform their automation testing. So at the end, you will able to see like I have tangible output at the end of the day. And you will try to remove manual intervention, right? Whatever, like if manual things need to be added, you will try to do that. That's how, like, SRE do for the your operations. It is like it will try to remove manual intervention and improve your culture as well. It gives lot of scope to engineer, and that's how your team will be motivated as well. If you are motivated and happy team, then you will be able to give the desired experience to user and your organization as well. So what are the key principles? So you heard about, I hope everyone is aware about HA now. So now above the HA, there comes the reliability. So what is reliability? That my system was 99% available, but for how long it was available, and it was able to serve requests to the particular users. There comes the reliability concept. How to measure reliability? So there should be some numerical values by which I can measure, right? So I have latency. So latency is like in amount of time it required to process that request, and it might be have different metrics based on your workload. You have web specific workload, you are processing data, you have OTT, then you might be having different terms to measure that latency. Then comes to the availability. So for how long your system was up, then throughput, number of requests processed per second, mostly for OTT and like picture uploading, video uploading websites. Then comes to the saturation. If you have business hours at 9 hours, you have full user peak utilization. But at that peak utilization, how your system is behaving, like it have 90% CPU, RAM, or it is like having number of 99.95 requests are processed into under 10 milliseconds. So that's how, like, how saturate my system is at the full capacity. These are the ways where you can measure your reliability. Second principle, like, we don't define like our reliability goals. Then who define? like user defined, but how we can make sure that user are external to our system. The code, the application our team is working, they don't know like what will be the customer behavior, how he will be using. Suppose you get call like one of your customer call and he said like I'm not able to use application properly, but your ops team say like my CPU is up and all the negatives monitoring dashboard I'm able to see is very green. So what do you mean? Then that means your application is reliable? No, because your customer are not happy. So make sure you understand your customer behavior. Based on that, you drive the parameter to measure that particular whatever the goal customer trying to achieve. I have like banking application. So in banking application, most important criteria will be to check balance, transfer, adding pay, deleting pay. It doesn't matter I'm able to upload my profile picture or not. So in monitoring or my ops team should be able to drive that metrics that measure my critical paths. Not it doesn't matter like I'm able to upload my picture. Next is like 100% reliability target, it is wrong. Either you are telling lie to your customer if you are saying we are 100% reliable. Second will be like if you say then you are not giving any new things to try to your users. That means like you are not having even a single minute of downtime. So that is like a very wrong target. And why this is wrong? Because adding extra line in this series will increase your cost and technical complexity as well. So you have to balance out that thing. So now comes to the DevOps and SRE. So both are like they give detailed guideline that how to reduce organization silos, how to have like small incident times, how to have like monitoring in place. They are just like DevOps gives the detailed guideline or a framework. Like for security, we have NIST framework. And they have given the guidelines and control. It's your responsibility to deploy them, right? Same way, and for each organization, it depends. Like if you are in CSP or you have data center, so there in NIST also your controls will change. So in same step, if you see the DevOps and SRE, so DevOps has a framework that you should do this, you should do this, but how to implement that in your day-to-day operations or life as well. So then there comes to the SRE. So SRE is like other way we can say is like DevOps is theory and practical implementation is done by the SRE. So if title say like class SRE deploy the interface DevOps. So it is to deploy whatever things we have into DevOps that is practically implemented by the SRE. And these are like 5 areas where both works. So if you see red one, the highlighted one are green, that like how SRE say you should implement. So one of key areas DevOps say you should reduce organization silos. But how you will reducing that? You have cross collaboration team, like what SRE teams looks like. So in SRE teams, you will be having engineers like who is responsible for particular that product or a features or that particular service, and then there will be having ops team as well. Then they will be combined both, and they will be having responsibility who will be handling this. So there your team is working as a one team and very collaborative ways. In terms of like how SRE say, you have shared responsibility. It is like whatever work you do as a team, your responsibility to manage this product as a team. It is not individually tied to the name, it is individually tied to the like supposing incident manager. So incident commander is a job, but it can be done by the any guy in the team. Then comes to the accept failure as normal. So incident can happen anytime, even though sometimes you have control, but sometimes you don't have even control. So in that case, how you will be like making sure that your team have that capability. In that case, you have SLOs, service level objectives, the targets you define, and then you have leanness culture and postmortem or any reviews, sprint reviews need to be done. So in that case, you will be just trying to focus that this problem happened due to this there was like in the Jenkins pipeline, there was one trigger. I have just clicked on that trigger, and that's why this incident happened. But then, in blameless, you will be asking why we need even that trigger. That why the trigger was there into Jenkins pipeline. How we can remove that? Reduce cost of failure. So in that case, you should implement whatever changes you are doing. It should be in that way that it is gradual, and if you roll back, it not introduce too much downtime in the system. So in that case, you will be able to roll back, and you, if any change need to be done, so it will be frequent as well. Next comes to the leveraging tool and automation. So everything you think that is creating too much toil. So toil is new term that introducing SRE as well. So anybody know what in your day-to-day life look like toil? Yes.
Like you have to be complete repetitive tasks like based on budget, and according to Google, around 50% should be a total budget, and the rest of the tasks the developers should focus on developing the usage, and rest of should be automating the repetitive tasks.
Yes, repetitive tasks, manual intervention. Suppose I am daily taking snapshot for GCVM manually, and I am spending 1 hour every day. That is a toil. And suppose in night time I get pager, like we don't have capacity due to scaling, and we have to provision new capacity. So on night I am spending 2 hours to provision that capacity, but next day I am just writing a script to automation. Night time was my toil time, but in next day I am writing a script, so that is not a toil. So toil is like any manual repetitive work day to day. Even on-call production calls, you go and your team is doing debugging. That is also a toil for your team, because otherwise they will be not able to have good balanced life. So in that case, whatever you use, try to automate every step. So same like we have toil. So toil is like we will target, like we will be going to automate this amount or this percent of a job into next year. So you design like your product targets you define, you just define the automation target as well. That is called toil budget. Next comes the measure everything. Measure your system availability, measure your system reliability, measure your team toil as well. And then comes to the like error velocity, that is like approved downtime you can have in your system. So whatever like you have application that stuff, monitoring in place, infrastructure monitoring in place, but for your team also you have everything that have like data driven approach. So these like the way like, and SRE have every like all these areas, like they have guidelines, they have examples how you can just try to implement that. And in all this, like for every project, Google follow this concept. So this is like specific terms that are frequently used into SRE. Customer user journey. So main critical path that will be like the customer that will be help customer to fulfill their goal. So that depend upon specific your applications. Like if OTT, then you might be able to see like your video there with not too much buffering, and recommendation might be not be in that part of like the critical user journey path. Then comes to the SLI. So whatever critical user you have path you are having, how you will be measuring numerically that thing. So there should be like ways like my customer is able to fulfill that particular goal, what is trying to intend it from this particular application. So there comes the SLI, numerical measure, way to measure your specific customer user journey. SLO, like you are tying your SLI for a specified time. Like I want to achieve more like 99% of my requests get fulfilled under 10 milliseconds in last 7 days. So you are tying a duration, a window, that rolling window can be have 7 days, 15 days, based on your like specific innovation base, you can just choose the rolling window yourself. Then comes to the error budget, that is approved downtime you can have. You can do different experiments there. Any like chaos testing need to be done, like litmus you can have, fortune miss wheel you want to try, like created downtimes in your system. And then SLAs, you everybody like you are working with CSPs, then they have contractual obligation. If you will not able to fulfill my 99% of availability, then I am like able to get the credits, or if you are not paying me credits or any sort of like benefit, then I can take into court. So SLA are like legally foundation between these two organizations. So what SLI looks like, number of good events divided by the total events, and good events can be particular to like to a specific customer user journey. It's generic term, it depends upon what type of your application you are having. Specific like these three types of workload you are having, then like normal web response web application, you might be having SLAs like availability, latency. If you have data like batch pipeline you have written, then in case you will be having coverage, you will be having correctness. Whatever data I am getting is correct, it's not like duplicate data. Any freshness, how real is my data in that case, and what is like throughput. Suppose I am just uploading my backup from the cloud to the like on-premise to the cloud, then how like what will be the throughput I am getting to upload this file. If you have storage like normal blob storage or any other specific things related to your blob or file storage, then you will be having throughput, number of IOPS I can perform, and then latency, and comes to the durability, how safe my data is into like a particular service. So like if S3 it's mentioned like I have 11 line of durability of that data. So this is like to better understand SLI is like numerical value. You tie with goal. Goal can be based on your specific requirement, 1 week, 1 month, and then like any consequences aligned with the SLO, it becomes your SLO. So this is one example. So this is normal, like you can try this into our sandbox, like SRE sandbox as well. Once you deploy, then you will be able to see this website deployed on the particular app engine. So it have like a different microservices, 11 microservices. They are talking to each other, like some are in Java, some are in Golang, and they are talking to each other by the gRPC. And what we have done, like this is normal a e-commerce website where I am able to see different products. I can add products into checkout, and I am able to make the payment. So what do you think? What will be our first step? Should be to design the SRE like complete framework. What should be our first step in that case? As a like you are working as a ops team, so what should be your first step in that case? Sorry? Requirement analysis of what? Okay, so what is the requirement of this, like specific requirement you have to fulfill? This is already deployed applications. All the application, everything is done. I have like every like when code testing, everything has I have done. Security scanning, everything is done. This is just deployed. Now comes to the operation team. What will be their first step? So first step, yeah, go ahead. Okay. So this will be comes later on, right? If I will be trying to have a big billion or festive sales season, right?
Basically on the load that you're gonna have.
Okay, yeah, got it. That will be comes into short into picture. So first, yes. So first I have to understand what are my critical user journey path that is important to user. So if e-commerce website, we should able to browse inventory, whatever the catalog they have. They should be able to check your their particular like cart, and then they should be able to do checkout and do payment. So these four are most critical in this application. So for that, I will be defining SLI and then target created specific the SLO and then define the alert policy. So now what will be the SLA? So number of requests that is like able to I am able to serve the response to the user. So it include all 200, 300, 400. So client side errors are assumed as a success event into SR. So it's become like this will, if the error code is not 500, then I'm assuming all the success, and from where I will be taking that. So I will be having web browser logs or like application specific logs. So from there I will be creating metrics to measure that particular 200 or like 300 error logs. And if that error log, like out of this 99.9%, I am able to achieve the success code, like successful event from the all the requests, then I am saying that is okay. But for how long? Like you want to measure for 7 days or 28 days. So you will be just defining that particular time, that for 28 days, I want to make sure that 99.9% my all the user requests, they should be able to see this particular inventory. Then you define the SLO, like rolling window you just created, and then there comes the error budget. So error budget is like you got the your reliability, your SLO specific thing, you divide 100 minus 99.9. So whatever the left amount is, that becomes your the error budget. In that you can do the experimentation. Like suppose your application is serving 1 billion requests per second. So at the end and in the month, you will be having 1 million requests per second. That downtime or errors you can create in your system. So in that for particular that 1 million requests, it might be 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So that type of downtime you can have in your system, that will improve like approved from your executives as well. So like SRE planning, error budgets, so that should be get approved. Like whatever SLO you decide, that also get approved by your executive or who is the project manager for that specific service. That will be approving that as well. So error budget. So this is like most of the companies say like how we can improve, like how we even can measure developer velocity in day-to-day operations. Like developer are saying they are able to commit this, they have written this number of lines of code in this day. But this helps to measure the developer velocities as well. So in that you will be like if you have more budget, so there you will be able to push too much changes. Like you can your like changes, like any new change done in the system that might have like it's not well tested. So sometimes it's happened like due to the changes your production get down. So in that case, if you have error budget more, then you can do such type of experimentation. Like any critical bug need to be fixed into production, that you can do if you have error budget. And then in terms of like your error budget is less, so day to day rolling window, then you will be able to monitor like where you stand in terms of critical your this error budget. Then you can measure that, and if it's less, then you will just stop developer to push any new changes into system. So in that way, like you will be focusing how reliable my system is, how I will try to automate stuff, and I will increase like if any SRE senior SRE consultant need to be added to consult it, like I am just running out of my error budget, what I can do this. So in that case, you will be focusing more on the your system keeping up. You will not try to do any changes into system. SRE practices, so you can start with the alerting and monitoring. So make sure that whatever alerting, the monitoring alert you define, that should not capture like median or average value. Otherwise, your team will get exhausted. So even then, when real time the incident happening, nobody even will notice. It's like just again normal alert only. So make sure your metrics monitoring designed in that way that actually capture the symptoms, not actual causes, like my production is down, and then you send the notification. So you should able to detect your symptoms as early as possible. Then in that case, you will be having less downtime in your system. Capacity planning, if you try to have like specific, one is normal organic growth, if you have B2C like specific application. Another comes like any specific events, big billion, festive season I am running. So one thing you have noted into every like sales or like Flipkart, Amazon, they never mention specific like at 9 a.m. we will be starting the sales. So this is intentionally because at that time if you specify that particular slope, there will be too much traffic, and your like application will not, your system will be not able to scale. So for capacity planning, design that way, start from the midnight, and then you just gradually increase open for the sales. Now comes to the like your emergency response time. So emergency response time should be like, you should have like a incident happen and you call everybody on the call and they are just talking. You don't have clear role and responsibilities, who is doing what. So what SRE says, you should have a clear like workflow for handling incident. There should be an incident commander who declare what is the incident, and then he handles like who will be the operation, who will be doing the actual work. And out of that, like any other person need to be notified or involved or any handover need to be done, then incident commander is the responsible person. Any like information, suppose I may like specific customer manager, and that is like my customer is complaining, then I will be talking to incident commander only. Incident commander decide who need to be notified and in what way to be notified. So they have particular plans. And you define like for your emergency response, you do the traits, like you have HA cluster, like you want to just try to know that how our HA we restore services from backup. So make sure while restoring you are doing this drill, you just write a documentation as well. So you have particular playbook defined. From there you will be taking the actions, and it will be easy. Next time if that incident happen and you have documented that particular stuff, then it will reduce your downtime, right? Because you have written procedures to follow that particular, what things need to be followed. And then again the culture, if you have psychological safety, so your team can try new things. They will be not worried if I have done something wrong, then they will fire me. You encourage innovation in your team. So make sure that you create that culture of innovation in your team. So these are resources. You can start with the book. This is one sandbox. There, like at console itself, you will be able to create specific, like your SLIs, your whatever service you have deployed into Google, like App Engine, Cloud Run, GKE, that will be visible to you. And from there, you create SLI, availability, latency you want to have. Then create specific SLOs, and then you will be able to monitor your error budget as well. So this is very good tool, and you can have in your day-to-day reference as well. So conclusion, you should try to have balance between stability and trying new things. So it's SRE is not specific to like your infra and ops. You can have in your house, the first example I have given, try to balance innovation and like stability. If you are working in security organization, so there also like CRS has released just new web rules, and I have to implement that. But I am not sure how reliable that are. Like what will be the my intended traffic is get blocked. So you should gradually deploy 2-3 rules. Like out of that, I am just remote code execution, I am just deploying that in only. So there I will be gradually, like any downtime to happen, then I am reducing that particular downtime. So that's it. Thank you.
Yes, we have a question.
Yes.
I have a question, Neelam ma'am. Yeah. So thank you very much for this wonderful session. So in today's era, it is entirely psychology-driven marketing.
Yes.
And the consumer behavior is totally unpredictable. So how this SRE can be implemented for SOCs as well, and how this entire system can be encapsulated. So for example, when we talk about any kind of errors that are happening, so it can be a restoration technique, it can be a rollbacks. So how a system can be automated so that the human efforts can be minimized and they can adapt the things as per the consumer behavior. Thanks.
Okay, and so in terms of like user behavior, if for specific application you have to drive what are the critical things you want to measure. Like you don't want to measure like number of queries one user will be running, because on that you don't have control. And you can't even control if you try to do. Like you want to have DDoS rule and just create like request per second. but even that it might be my intended user in that case. So you don't focus on the user specific thing. Focus on the goal what user is trying to achieve from their application. Work on that areas like specific SLI need to be designed like in terms of banking or any specific like Facebook. I want to know updates from my friends. So that is more important, right? But they will be just in top corner only. So focus on that thing to improve that thing. And specific like if you want to know like HA, so most of the like cloud provider are having managed services that automatically have HA capabilities. Multi-region, like if you consider Google Cloud Spanner database, globally distributed database, there you just deploy and you have to just choose your region. So whatever the application need to be done, it automatically happen. If you have like your lot of pictures need to like Google Photos you use, right? So if for that also, if you want to store, like have the like HA capability built in the system where you don't have to write the specific like queries, go for that services. Like GCS provide the like multi-region deployment. You just to choose your application. So also like at last, if you want to go instead of manual effort, you focus on the whatever the managed services that are available by default, you go for that. Because in that case, if you compare cost and all that, so if you compare your manual effort, you will be hiring a like there is one suppose for the specific security. If I have to hire one person and there is like hunting playbook written into my system, so I should leverage that one because that is well tested, well written, and it's like it will be doing their work at all, and it will be available to user. And if you hire that person, you are not sure, like you are just judging based on the interview, but that is well tested by all the users, that playbook. So you should try to leverage managed services as much possible. That's I will suggest, like out of my experience.